Hey guys, what's up? I'm finally back! I know it took a long ass time, but better late than never, right? So yeah, I'm back with more hidden JRPG gems for the PS3. Alright, let's begin! Number 10. Revenant Saga. Out of all the Kemco RPGs nowadays, Revenant Saga is the best one that I've played. I covered this game recently, so there's nothing new to say about it. Turn-based RPG with old school personality, 16-bit style in some areas such as the overall navigation, and a combat in 3D that relies on skills, magic, and transformations. Stories in Kemco RPGs are slightly generic, but I found Revenant Saga to be actually pretty interesting. This RPG is very influenced by a lot of other classics, so it'll be impossible to quote them all. There are some physical copies floating around from limited run games, but not the PS3 one, that's digital only. If you're curious, there's also As Divine Hearts, which I found to be pretty cool too. Number 9. Akiba Strip, Undead and Undressed. When this game was released, it tried to be popular and mainstream, which is why it stays on number 9, even though it's actually pretty damn decent. Eventually, it faded into obscurity until its recent revival on the PS4. However, that still wasn't enough and it retains its hidden gem characteristics, at least in my opinion. It's a comedy not to be taken seriously, played in modern Akihabara. You're an otaku that, for reasons that I won't spoil, is turned into some kind of vampire. After being rescued by a girl of his new kind, they embark on a quest of beating the crap out of other beings disguised as people. How do you beat them? By stripping them! Yup, I'm not kidding. And that's why this game became controversial back in the day. You won't play this game for the story since it's just a fanservice RPG, but gameplay-wise, it's very fun and addictive. Number 8. The Witch and the Hundred Knight. Originally released here on the PS3 and later ported to the PS4, this weird game is another hidden gem. It takes a while to get used to it because there are way too many tutorials at first, but it grows on you. In fact, even its silly plot, its outrageous personality, and its psychedelic witch end up becoming quite likable. It's an action RPG where you play as this little doll thing, destroying all kinds of enemies in a top-down view perspective. There's customization when it comes to weapons and armor, which is actually the main core of the gameplay itself. You can also invade other people's houses, by the way, but I'll let you figure out the whys and hows. The Witch and the Hundred Knight is not one of the best action RPGs of all time by any means, but it's a fun adventure that's quite overlooked nowadays. Number 7. 3D Dot Game Heroes. You won't believe who developed this game. From Software, that's right, the Soulsborne creators, and Silicon Studios, who made Bravely Default and Bravely Second. Well, they did a pretty good job with this strange action RPG and its 2D style, but with voxel 3D graphics. You can choose between a huge variety of classes to start your adventure. It's been compared many times to The Legend of Zelda, perhaps for its obvious similarities, but I can tell right away it's very different, especially because it has a lot of RPG elements in it. Exploring dungeons, fighting enemies, solving puzzles, this game has everything you need to have a lot of fun. Just don't expect too much on the story, since it doesn't really focus on that. Number 6. Fairy Fencer F. Also on the PS4, Switch, and PC, it's one of those Idea Factory compile hard RPGs. So expect it to be full of fan service, lolis, dumb characters, and a weird ass plot. All that aside, it's actually a really funny game. I honestly laughed a lot at some parts of the story. It's a turn-based RPG that takes after the popular Neptunia games. You move your characters in a limited area, then position them to execute their attacks. so it's mostly based on combos and a little bit of strategy. I like this battle system a lot, and even the story and characters, which I didn't take seriously at all. In the end, Fairy Fencer delivers a solid adventure with truly fun mechanics, some grinding here and there, and a bunch of silly stuff, but in the good sense of the word. Number 5. Battle Princess of Arcadia. Here's a digital-only RPG that, once again, it's not a game you'll play for the story, since it's beyond silly and outrageously senseless. It's still very colorful and charismatic though. Action RPG in 2D with 3 different battle mechanics revolving around its hack and slash and beat 'em up element. Normal missions going from left to right are the most frequent, precisely where you'll need to grind. War battles with a morale bar included, where you'll be required to strategize. Last but not least, the boss battles that involve the other 2 combat mechanics. You won't have party members fighting by your side per se, but they will join as playable characters, of course. It's a pretty short game and you'll breeze through it in less than 20 hours. I don't understand why it didn't have a physical release outside Japan, but even though it's sort of like an Odin Sphere clone, it's honestly very good and addictive to play. Number 4. Ar no Surge Ode to an Unborn Star. The last game in the underrated Ar tonelico series, which takes after CL no Surge, a visual novel that never came out of Japan. You probably won't fully understand the story here because it is a sequel to CL, but it focuses on its new characters and plot, so you'll be fine. It's a turn-based RPG, but you only control 2 characters this time around, your hero and your Ravatail, a girl who will sing powerful songs full of magic. You can actually beat the crap out of all the monsters in the area through one single battle. These games are known for being very story-driven, so there's a lot of dialogue involved. Also, going inside the girl's unconsciousness is still a primordial part of the game. Overall, Ar no Surge was an interesting closure to the R series and a solid RPG with pretty unique ideas. Number 3. Ar tonelico Koga, Nail of RCL. Before R and CL no Surge, Ar tonelico 3 actually gave closure to a trilogy. Sadly though, a lot of people dislike this game because it wasn't turn-based anymore like the first 2 games were. Instead, it became an action RPG very reminiscent of the Tales of series. Well, I liked it a lot and everything else was just as good as its PS2 predecessors. While those are not exactly hidden gems since they're fairly known, all 3 of them have become somewhat underrated. They're heavy on the fan service side, which is actually a big part of the games, directly connected to the plot. I liked how this 3rd title tried to be different and in my opinion it succeeded. I don't think we'll see any more of these science fiction RPGs for a while though, because the developer's attention, Gust, is mainly on the Atelier series. So if you like those games, maybe give these ones a chance? And no, even though the 3 Ar tonelico games are connected story-wise, you don't really need to play the others to understand this one, but I strongly recommend doing so anyway. Number 2. Falk Lore. Another action RPG on the list, extremely unique, being the exact definition of the term hidden gem. I've covered this game quite recently, so I'll be brief. Basically, you choose between 2 main characters to play your strange and gothic adventure. You can switch between them after completing each chapter if you want to. They both have their own unique playstyle, but the gameplay mechanics are identical. They revolve around absorbing monsters to gain their skills and use them in battle. The graphics are outstanding for an early PS3 game, with everything looking literally fantastic. Great writing and a story very well polished, full of crazy but original ideas. Falk Lore is truly an excellent gem on the PS3 and a game that you should definitely try. Number 1. Lost Dimension. One of my personal favorites on the system and the only strategy RPG on the list. It isn't grid-based though, but instead with characters moving around limited areas, taking advantage of the terrain and your nearby allies to create joint attacks. You'll be enthralled with this engaging battle system. Just like Falk Lore, this is an RPG that you will also play for the story, as it is quite unique. Your characters are trapped inside a giant tower, but in order to move forward, one of them needs to be sacrificed. This happens thanks to the research you do with your protagonist to determine who's an ally and who's not. It all leads to different endings and playthroughs, which adds replay value of course. I think this game is a masterpiece as it is great in every single aspect, including the graphics and the soundtrack. Pick up Lost Dimension if you can, also available on the PS Vita, as it is indeed a true hidden gem. Alright guys, that's it. Please remember that if there's a game that should have been on this list and it wasn't, don't forget that I did a part 1 a long time ago, which I'll leave at the end of this video. Be sure to watch that other part as well if you haven't. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!